My Dying Bride is a name that really has become very synonymous with doom metal. It's also been kind of synonymous with a bit of tragedy, with romanticism, with erotica. There's a lot of different things that My Dying Bride can be described to either do or the feelings that the band perpetuates. It's really something that's been true ever since the inception of their career. They are a group that has really stayed the course whenever it comes to doom metal, with minor evolutions and tweaks coming with their sound as the years have progressed. Now they're on album number 12, and we've been talking about My Dying Bride in heavy metal culture. We personally have not, but heavy metal has been talking about this group for more than 25 years. It's been quite some time and quite a ride. So it is kind of easy to say that a My Dying Bride album is going to sound stunningly similar to a lot of the past ones in the catalog. It's actually kind of an easy sentiment to really offer, and that can make reviewing an album of theirs or talking about any music of theirs kind of seem like a moot point. It's one where you can almost just say, well, listen to the other ones. This one will sound just like the rest. And that immediately sounds like the band's really boring and doing the same thing over and over again. The reality of it is that this is a band that has a cornerstone sound set in mind, but then it is more so the building blocks that surround it. It is the musical building blocks that they use, the Legos, so to speak, that they use to construct their masterpieces. They use to construct their songs, and one of the largest Legos, or the Lego that is definitely employed the most, is the idea of emotion. Emotional turmoil, emotion within their music, really allowing not only their sound, but also their stories to intermix and intermingle and really grip at you and give you a profound sense of either the depraved or of the erotic or of the depressing or of the sorrowful. And that's what My Dying Bride is able to do, and they do it probably better than anybody else out there. And My Father Left Forever is the opening track off of this album, and it is a song that we heard a couple of months ago and immediately felt as though My Dying Bride had once again started to tailor and craft another masterpiece, simply because this 9.5-minute long opener just resonates all of those feelings that we just spoke about. The profound emotion that is seen within this a very aggressive but at the same time very downtrodden track is certainly a fitting opener. And for those of you who are brand new to the My Dying Bride experience, those of you who are perhaps unaware of these guys or trying them out for the first time, this is a really nice snapshot of what My Dying Bride does on a regular basis, kind of like their 9 to 5 song, if you want to really be strange about it, because this is a song that really sums up My Dying Bride as a band in 9.5 minutes very, very nicely. If you can get behind that, then you can get behind this band and do so with relative ease. The difference really is one that is showcased after about 3 tracks. The first of the 3 songs on this album each eclipse the 9-minute mark and really showcase a profound diversity between slow, brooding, chugging riffs to some higher and more aggressive paced riffing that comes coupled with it the departure of clean, almost sorrowful vocals that transition to a deeper growl, one that showcases a lot more angst, anger, misery, just overall just misanthropy toward the world. It really pierces your soul whenever these vocals come, principally because it really illuminates that which really broils within all of us on a day-to-day basis at times, that delicate balance between sort of being level-headed and then just exploding. But whenever you get into Feel the Misery and A Thorn of Wisdom, whenever we get into some slower material, some shorter material, should I say, at 6 and 5 minutes in length, this is where the diversity of this band really starts to showcase itself. This is where you see tracks that are a little bit more dedicated toward pacing and toward a little bit more of that pure emotional control, really allowing the songs themselves almost paint their own emotional picture in a shorter time frame or using a smaller canvas, and does so very, very nicely. But whenever you get to track number 7 on this 8-track affair, I Almost Loved You, you get easily My Dying Bride hitting one of the apexes of their recent career, because this is extremely heartbreaking. This has a setting and a musical backdrop that really fits and really clicks on every level. And this is just this is what you want in a My Dying Bride song. this is where My Dying Bride gets the gothic bitches, because these are the tracks that make them weep in a corner and want their clove cigarettes, but at the same time, while they're weeping in the corner and smoking that clove, their panties are wetter than a motherfucker, because this is the stuff that My Dying Bride really executes and does so very well. Putting that much feeling, executing with that much precision. This is a group that channels actual feeling as opposed to just trying to draw it out through catchy lyricism and trying to draw it out through a sort of fashion culture. This is instead that sort of emotional real upheaval that is done so with true emotional direction as opposed to it being just a fashion scene. Within a Sleeping Forest is 10.5, nearly 11 minutes of My Dying Bride satisfaction to close the album. And My Father Left Forever was an exceptional opener, and this is a great closer with Within a Sleeping Forest. And once again, preserves the bookend theory that if you have two strong bookends in your first and last track, it definitely goes to your benefit very well. This track isn't necessarily all of that different by comparison to what My Dying Bride have painted, the portraits that they have made in this gallery that is Feel the Misery. Rather, this is instead a song that sort of puts the cherry on top. It's the accent to all of the pieces that were heard previously, and adding that depth, that layering, and one final piece of the puzzle, which is pure atmosphere and the pacing. Everything really comes together with that. To paint a score on a My Dying Bride album is based on a couple of different ideas than you would for a lot of other bands. First of all, did they make you feel and channel a great deal of emotion? This album does do that. Is this something where they have musically broken a lot of their own barriers? And the answer to that question is no, not really. They haven't. This is a group that really doesn't have to do that, but it would feel good to see a little bit more density, a little bit more layering, a little bit more curiosity maybe shown by the band in order to really expand what they do. But overall, considering we're talking about a dozen albums in, and the formula actually works pretty nicely. It's not one that tires you. This is an album that's very easy to get through. It's not a real difficult listen, even at its over an hour runtime. We can't really complain too much about that. And finally, did My Dying Bride execute? Were they able to execute with top-notch material, or is this just sort of par for the course material? This is above average, is what I will certainly say. By comparison to some of their more recent opuses that they have delivered us, this is one that feels like My Dying Bride is just on a great roll. They're able to really channel all of the different emotions and hit all of those peak spikes that they're looking to hit, and they do so quite well. So overall, this is an album that definitely has an 84 out of 100 vibe to it. Definitely at least a 4-star affair in the fact that it is a solid piece of work. It's very beautiful in locations and flows very nicely. But I want to know what you guys think about Feel the Misery. Did you feel the misery whenever you listened to this album by My Dying Bride? If so, let me know in the comments below. And even if you didn't, let me know down there as well. This is just the beginning of a busy week, ladies and gentlemen, Cover Killer Nation. We will be talking about the new Black Dahlia Murder album coming up very soon, later on today, and there is a whirlwind of activity that is to follow in the coming week. So definitely hit that subscribe button, because there's a good chance that even if this wasn't for you, there's a good chance that something else we talk about this week will be for you. I'm Cover Killer Nation, and I'll talk to you later. I thank you.